It's Valentine's Day and we have a special just for you coming up right now on the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show. Well, howdy y'all, welcome to our special Valentine's Day episode of the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show, hosted by yours truly, Chef Ron Locke. We have a fantastic dessert that we're going to be doing for you on this Valentine's Day special. It's a chocolate strawberry torte, and I love this recipe because it's got the great taste of chocolate, the wonderful, delicious taste of strawberry, and a couple other little ingredients that are going to just make this thing pop. It's going to take it over the top. You want to go ahead and make a dessert for your sweetheart on Valentine's Day? Let me tell you, you stick around and watch this. I guarantee when we're done, you're going to want to definitely try this out because it is fantastic. It's YEE HAW YUM, let me tell you. So you're probably wondering, what's going in this, right? Well, let's walk over to our ingredient roundup here and we're going to show you what it is, alright? So let's introduce our first ingredient. We've got 12 ounces of frozen whipped topping. Now make sure you go ahead and thaw that out before you use this recipe, alright? Next up we have here a pint of strawberries that have been sliced up. We've got 2 cups of chocolate graham crackers that have been crushed in a food processor. That comes to up to about 10 to 12 crackers. We've got here 1 ounce of semi-sweet chocolate. You know, I just love chocolate. This is going to be the great topping that goes on to our torte. You'll see that in a little bit. Next up here we have ourselves 1 cup of regular sour cream. That's about 8 ounces there. We've got 1/4 cup of white sugar. We've got here 1 stick or 1/2 cup of butter that's been melted. We've got here 2 teaspoons of butter, and also lastly we've got ourselves 1 3.9 ounce package of instant chocolate pudding mix. Alright, that is what our ingredient roundup is today on this recipe. We're going to come back and start this whole lovely torte that we're going to be making for you, and you don't want to miss this, so come on back.
You are watching WYE the Network.
Well, welcome back everyone. Now we're going to go ahead and start making our crust that's going to actually go into our spring foam pan, which I'll show you here in just a bit. But let's get our crust made first. So, get yourself a little medium-sized bowl here, and then you're going to go ahead and just take in your crumbs, your graham cracker crumbs like that. Take your melted butter, add that in, like so. And lastly, take your sugar and put that into. Now, get yourself a spoon or a spatula. We're just going to go ahead and mix this up like this. And you want to get it crumbly, okay? So it'd take about a minute or so to get this all to the consistency that we want. But the object here is to get it nice and crumbly, so when we start putting this into our spring foam pan, it will form a nice little crust that we are going to go ahead and start filling in with some really good goodness. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up here just a bit, get it all nice and ready, and we're going to go ahead on the next segment here and introduce to you our spring foam pan, talk about that a little bit, and start molding in our crust for our chocolate strawberry torte. So come on back. Well, alright, welcome back to our special Valentine's Day episode. Now, as you can see, I've rolled my sleeves up because I'm going to get a little hands-on with this next segment of putting in the crust into our spring form pan. Now, I just want to talk to you, as I always do in every episode, about kitchen hygiene and cleanliness. Make sure that your environment is nice and clean. Make sure your hands are nice and clean. I'm going to quick wash my hands here because we're going to get into this crust, and you have to press the crust in this spring form pan. Now, if you don't know what a spring form pan is, let me just show you. It's in 2 pieces. Now, you've got the round piece here. I'm trying to do this. The round piece here, like so, and then you've got your base. All right. You see, what you do is just put your round piece in like this. This locks it in by just shutting it like that, And you're good to go, just like that. And that's all it is. That's all it is. Cheesecakes and torts are generally made from this. You can also make some quiches, some other things also in the springform pan. A lot of times you would cook these or bake these in a bath of hot water in a shallow pan. When we do a cheesecake episode sometime, I'll go ahead and show you that method too. This is not a baking recipe, this is a refrigeration recipe, so we won't be doing that this time. But anyway, just a quick little lesson there and a little talk about a springform pan. This is a 9-inch springform pan, by the way. So now we're going to go ahead and take our crust that we made in our last segment, and let me put that over here so my camera can get that. And now we're just going to go ahead and take our hands and we're just going to go ahead and start layering this crust into our springform pan, like so. Now, you don't want a thick crust. This is just to really go ahead and layer this in, okay? You're just going to pat this in like so. Just keep taking like I'm doing here. And you see I'm just patting this in. I'd say probably your crust will be, I'd say probably about, probably a quarter, maybe to probably a quarter to a half inch at most. Nothing more than that. And you just see all I'm doing is just layering this in like this, alright? Now what we're going to do is once we get this done, is we're just going to go ahead and chill this for about an hour. And while we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and make some other things that go into this. So that's what I'm doing right here. And what you want to do is you want to go up about 1.5 inches around this pan, because again, that's going to be your crust on the bottom and the sides for your chocolate strawberry torte. Alright, so I'm going to keep go ahead and doing this. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and put this in the refrigerator, and then I'm going to go ahead and start making the filling that's going to be going on top of this crust that we're doing right now. Alright, so come on back. Well, welcome back to our special Valentine's Day episode on the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show. We're at the point now we're going to go ahead and start our filling, and we've got 3 ingredients that are going to make that up for our chocolate strawberry torte. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get yourself a medium-sized to large-sized bowl, and you want to go ahead and put your whipped topping in this, and make sure again it's thawed out when you go ahead and use this. And so we've got our whipped topping here. We're going to go ahead and add in our sour cream, and that's 8 ounces or 1 cup. And let's go ahead and put that in there. Like so. Try to get as much of it out as you can. Doesn't waste not, want not. There we go. And lastly, we have our 2 cups of our chocolate graham crackers. This chocolatey goodness is going to make this filling so wonderful. You sprinkle those on top like that. Alright. Easy as pie, or you could say easy as torte, right? Alright. Now we're just going to go ahead and take our spatula, and we're just going to go ahead and mix this all up and just fold from the bottom to the top. Be careful, because this pudding is going to want to go ahead, this pudding mix is going to want to go ahead and powder up a little bit as you start mixing it. So, you know, just kind of be gentle at first when you're doing it. Once you get a lot of that powder mixed in with this other goodness that's in here, then you can go ahead and stir it up a little bit more like so. So, we've got our crust still cooling, chilling out in the refrigerator, and we're going to go ahead after this short little break and bring that back out, show you how that turned out, and then we're going to go ahead and start filling our chocolate strawberry torte with this and some other wonderful ingredients. Alright, so come on back. Welcome back to our Valentine's Day special episode on the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show. Alright, here we go. We have our chilled chocolate strawberry torte crust in our springform pan. You can see how this is. Now, you can see the side. We only went up about half the way, and that's what a torte is. It's not a real high volume dessert. So you want to only go about half the way. And this looks great so far. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add in our filling and some good strawberries, because I can't wait to put those into this whole torte. That's what makes this whole thing so special. So let's get started. Alright, so we've got here our filling that we made in the last segment. Now what I like to do here is I just like to go ahead, because we're going to use half for the bottom, we're going to layer some strawberries in the middle, and then we're going to put this on the top. So it's going to be a nice fruit-filled torte that is just going to be fantastic. But now what I want to do is I want to make a dividing line in my filling here, because again, like I'm doing there, because you want to use half and half. However, whatever method you want to use, but just remember you've got to use half and then the other half. So that's what we're going to do. That's how I always do it anyway. Alright, so what we're going to do is just go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put this on, almost spoon this on like so. And again, I'm just going to dollop this because, again, even though this crust is chilled, you don't want to go crazy on putting a lot of pressure on the bottom of this. What will happen is then you'll break that up, and then you're going to have a mess on your hands. So you got to be a little delicate with this stuff, all right? So just kind of, like I said, dollop it in. If you've watched a lot of my shows, dolloping is a word. It's a key word for sure, because I dollop a lot when I cook. Because again, I don't believe in just pouring stuff on in most cases, because you know it's a lot harder to fix something if you put all that weight on something and then trying to fix it. Dolloping gives you a little bit more volume to go ahead and mix things around a little bit. Alright, so we got half of this on right now. All you're going to do is get yourself a spatula or a spoon and just spoon this out, alright, like so. And you just want to go ahead, let me hold my pan here, and just like you're putting frosting on a cake. That's basically what you're doing. Alright, get it, just push it to the sides, okay? Just push it to the sides. These aren't going to be thick layers, alright? They're just thin layers that we're doing here. A torte, again, is not a real high volume type of dessert. So we're just going to go ahead and push this in like so. And our filling, and I'm going to have to move over here, gets a little sticky. So you got to be careful, alright, when you're doing this. Again, you don't want to upset the crust. It may happen a little bit. I mean, I've made these tortes, different kinds of tortes with the graham cracker crust, and you know, it is going to happen a little bit. You're going to get a little bit of that happening, but again, you want to minimize as much as possible. There's always one spot every time you try to, if you frosted cakes and stuff, there's always that one spot that really just wants to give you a hard time. And I'm telling you, I got a spot here. Alright, I think that's pretty good. That looks good for our first layering here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands because we're going to be putting some strawberries on top of the layer I just put on. So, give me a second to do that. And then what we're going to do now is put strawberries, a good portion of strawberries, as our second layer here. Alright, so let me go ahead and just do that. These are fantastic. There's no, just cover it as best as you can. You got plenty here, so you're just going to go ahead and just place them in. This is something where you really kind of just want to place, and this is where you can get your kids involved and help too, a little bit, if you want. They can feel important while they're putting together this dessert. As I said, my mom always tried to find different things for me to get involved with when I was younger to kind of get me into the whole culinary world of things. So these are the things that she would have me do, like this kind of stuff here, layering, stirring, the real basics. And then as I got more into it, then we started getting a little more advanced things. So, but you see what I'm doing here? I'm just really layering this through as we're doing here. Okay, I just try to cover all the spots that I see filling in. That's really what you're going to be doing. You know, basically it's one layer and then pretty much filling in anything that you see that's still showing our bottom layer of filling. So that's what we're doing here. All right. Okay. And there we go. Should be another minute or two here. What do they always say about things? You can't rush a good thing, right? So that's the same holds true here. You can't rush a good thing. Now when we go to put our third layer on, our second coating of our filling here, this is where we got to be careful again, because the strawberries will kind of want to pick up a little bit with this filling that we're going to be putting into. So, alright, like that. There we go. This, I tell you, this is I will say that this is probably my favorite Valentine's Day dessert, personally. I think I've made this dessert, I would say, probably about a dozen times or more through the course of my life, and it's just a fantastic dessert. The flavors are just fabulous. They're just wonderful, and the chocolate and the strawberry just melt so well together. I mean, it's a perfect Valentine's Day kind of thing. All right. Well, we're almost done here, and like I said, you're going to probably end up with more strawberries than you need, and that's fine, because all you got to do is sprinkle a little sugar or get a little more whipped cream. That's a nice treat for the kids, or for yourself too. All right. A couple little more spots and we are good to go here. Because I know y'all are just dying to see how this is all going to turn out in the end here. And I am too. Alright. Let's see, 2 more spots and we're all set. Get some smaller ones here. There we go. Alright, there we... I thought I saw a little spot here hiding on me. Alright, there we go. Alright, that's it. That's your fruit base right there. It's nicely covered against the filling that we just put in. I'm going to wash my hands here a second. Get all this strawberry goodness off it. Like so. There we go. Now, we're going to go ahead and take our second portion of our filling and put that on top. That's going to be our sealing here. Move those over. Again, got to be a little careful with this because, and I'm going to do smaller dowels because, again, it's a sticky type of a filling. Finish this up. I'm going to go ahead and finish this layering here, and when we come back we're going to have our finished chocolate strawberry torte, but we've got one more thing to put on top of this, and I'm going to walk you through that in just a second. Well, welcome back. We're going to go ahead now and put our final drizzling of some semi-sweet chocolate on top of our chocolate strawberry torte. And I'm going to just show you how to do that a little bit here. Now, I have our finished product of our 2 teaspoons of butter and our 1 ounce of semi-sweet chocolate that we showed you in the ingredient roundup. All you want to do is go ahead and put those 2 in a little bowl and put those at 50% power in your microwave, alright? You're going to go ahead and do that for 10-second intervals. You don't want to cook this thing, okay? You want it at a lower temperature in short intervals because you've got to keep stirring it. Alright, that's the key to getting a nice smooth chocolate, is to do it on a half power, 50% power, and then just go ahead every 10 seconds, take it out, and just stir it up a little bit and go in there. It should only take you a minute, not even a minute for a lot of the microwaves out there, but that's the way you do it. You don't want to just throw it in there for a minute and let it bake. You will burn the chocolate, it will be a mess, it'll explode all over your microwave. Trust me, trust me. I've been down that road. So anyway, so that's what we did here. So we've got our semi-sweet chocolate butter mixture here. We're going to take a small whisk, and all we're going to do is just go ahead and whisk this in and drizzle it like so, okay? And just turn it around a little bit here. Come on now. It don't want to agree with us here. There we go. Come on now. Oh, usually it's a little... There we go. There we go. Got to mix it up here a little bit more and get it going. And that's all you're going to do. Just make some swirly rounds here. You can also use a bag. A baggie that's got a corner cut in the bottom. Do it that way. You can pipe it on. Or you can also use one of those condiment containers and squirt it on. Now you see though, when you're using the whisk, and we're getting there, you can make some really kind of cool designs on this. Okay? You got some little dots, some little squiggles, and that's the effect we're trying to get here. It just didn't want to work right off the bat. It's teasing me a little bit here. But that's all you're going to do. Just like that. You see how we're doing this now? And I just think this makes a little bit of a nicer presentation when you do it like this. Alright. Just like so. And you just can put on as much as you'd like. You can just do a smattering if you just want to do a little accent of this, or you can put a lot on. I'm almost done here actually. I don't do a lot. I just want a little bit of a taste when you're biting into this. I don't want to overpower anything here, okay? So I see maybe 2 or 3 spots that I want to finish up here real quick. And then we're going to go ahead and put this into our refrigerator. And we'll talk about that as soon as I finish up here in just a second. Sure, now it doesn't want to stop. Once we get it going, it don't want to stop. There. Alright, something like that. That's a pretty good representation right there of how it should look with the drizzling effect on that with your little whisk that you use there. So now what we need to do is we need to cool this at least for 4 hours before we can serve this. Now if you're making this and you're going to have dinner and everything else the same night, you're probably not going to have enough time to do this. Otherwise you'll be probably having your dessert around midnight. Especially if you work and then have to come home and make dinner for your sweetheart. I would suggest on this, you can make this and put this in the refrigerator overnight. Now if you're going to do that, I would suggest you obviously want to put some aluminum foil over that, or let me show you what I do, because we're going to have to do this ourselves here on the show. I have a plastic 9.5 inch bowl that I'll just go ahead and set over just like that, a dome. I like this better because I can see what it looks like, and also if I need to adjust anything in the process, I can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, I've taken off aluminum foil. You're kind of taking a chance on disturbing your torte. You don't want to do that. So, you know, this is a good idea if you are looking to chill this overnight. Like I said, most of the time you're not going to have the 4 hours to do it unless you make this early in the day. So, being that Valentine's Day is on a weekday and you want to do it on the day of Valentine's Day, I would make this the night before, get a dome, or plastic, or aluminum foil, put it on top here, and then you're good to go. So that's what we're going to actually do. And then we're going to have to come back tomorrow and show you our final presentation, because I want this to chill. And actually, it's better if you let this chill overnight, because the strawberry and the filling is all going to really just mix in even better. Because you know how it is, you put something in the refrigerator overnight, leftovers, they're always better the next day because you've let those flavors congeal with each other. So that's what we're going to do here. So when we come back tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and show you our final presentation, and you know what? I'm going to take a little taste test of this just to make sure it's good to serve to everybody else. I'm going to sneak a taste. So come on back and we'll show you our final presentation on our special Valentine's Day episode. Well, alright, we are are back. Now, take a look at that. That is your chocolate strawberry torte straight out of the refrigerator. We've taken the springform sleeve off of that, and it is just fantastic. Look at that. The chocolate graham cracker crust held up really nicely. I love the way that we used the whisk to go ahead and drizzle that semi-sweet chocolate on top. And we've gone ahead and just put some strawberries around it to give it a little bit of a presentation aspect to it. Now, we decided to leave this on the springform tray. Now, you can go ahead, and if you're careful, you can go ahead and take this off right after you get it out of the refrigerator and slide it on or put it onto a presentation dish if you want. But I actually like it this way, and it keeps it colder because it's still out of the refrigerator, and it's also keeping the bottom cold. So when we cut into that, it'll stay together very nicely. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and slice us a piece up and get it on a presentation plate, and we're going to go and take a little test of this and see how it tastes. Well, here I am standing in front of our presentation plate with our chocolate strawberry torte. A nice slice of that on this plate. We've added a couple of strawberry garnishes, heart-shaped ones for the holiday, for Valentine's Day. You can also put drizzled chocolate on that. You can put some whipped cream on it. Some different ideas if you want to jazz that plate up a little bit for your presentation. Now, just take a look at that. Take a look at the center of that piece of torte there, because you can see the strawberries infused in the middle with all of that lovely filling. That is so great. I'll tell you why, because when we've chilled it, all those flavors have now infused with each other. So it's just going to be this fantastic Yee Haw Yum goodness when we bite into that here in just a second. Also, take a look at that graham cracker crust. It's held up nicely. Once we've taken off the springform pan, it just held its shape nicely. You saw that in the last presentation that we did here. And it's just a fantastic, fantastic, decadent little dessert for your sweetheart on Valentine's Day. It's such a great, great thing. Now, we're going to go ahead right now and bite into this, take a taste of this before I serve this to my company here. Got a little dressed up here because as soon as we get done with the show, I've got my Valentine's Day dinner coming up. So let me go ahead and carefully turn this around so the camera doesn't get out of focus on that. We're going to take our fork here, take a little bite, and see how this came out. Make sure I don't drop anything here. Oh. Yee Haw Yum is all I got to say about that. If you like chocolate, you got how many different kinds of chocolate we got in here? We've got a chocolate graham cracker crust. We've got chocolate pudding in our filling here. And we've got semi-sweet chocolate drizzled on top. You can't have any more chocolate than that. It is fantastic. Those strawberries, letting them cool overnight like that in the refrigerator, congealing with all the other chocolate goodness, it is just amazingly good. Amazingly good. You've got to give this a try. If you want to impress your sweetheart, especially if they love chocolate or strawberries, I'm telling you, that's it. That's the ticket right there. That's the ticket. Excellent stuff. All right? Well, first I want to thank you all for checking out our Valentine's Day special episode of the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. And I just want to go ahead, I normally don't do this, but because it's the holiday, I want to go ahead and just do a simple toast to love out there, because you know what? We all need a little love in our lives once in a while. So, here's to all of you from the Chuckwagon Cowboy Show. All right, that's it for our episode. This is Chef Ron Lott saying, as I always do, get off that couch and get cooking. See you next time.